Hey, what's up? On today's episode, we're going to talk about when to insource or outsource your digital marketing. Don't miss out. I'm Danny Gonzalez, and this is IndustrialSage.
Welcome to IndustrialSage, a free video podcast series all about digital marketing for industrial manufacturers. Hear interviews with your peers and find out how they're solving the same challenges that you might be facing in your own field. Coming to you from the Optimum Production Studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is IndustrialSage.
All right, so you figured out at this point, like, hey, listen, we want to do this whole digital marketing game. We want to jump into it as a manufacturer. So there's two really tracks and two ways that you can go to tackle this. And one is outsourcing and one is insourcing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that one is better than the others. It totally just depends on your circumstances and experience. I will say, in either scenario, though, even if you are going to outsource, completely, that it's still really valuable to have somebody on your team that will be there full time, that can be that go-to contact person, because the outsource group is really need to be able to have resources and have access and need help to collaborate on things from an internal perspective. So, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. So we'll go ahead and jump into this outsourcing versus insourcing. Obviously, key differences. Outsourcing obviously is working with an agency or somebody, an outside group or firm that you say, hey, listen, we're going to pass all of this on to you, and they're primarily going to be responsible for all the strategy, creating all the content, and actually executing on that, and essentially generating results. Hopefully they're generating results for you, and that's one model. Insourcing is essentially starting to build a team internally to be able to do that. It's really interesting. You hear a lot of stories of companies that have really successfully done that. I know for a fact there's a company here in Atlanta called Nanolumens. And I know they actually had the person who was running it, they started kind of toying around with marketing automation. And I think it was like the front office girl there. She was like the receptionist, and she just started tinkering with it and started getting interested, and ended up, they started kind of piling on, say, hey, try this, do this. And she ended up like going whole hog into this thing in Marketo, and ended up like leading all this, and it really shifted a lot of their business, and it really helped. So that's sort of, one way of doing it is saying, hey, we're going to put this on, this person's plate, and we want you to do this, and go there. So, if you're going to, one thing, let's say we're going to look at insourcing for a second and, say when that might be valuable, is if you have something that's really like super niche, very technical, that can be really challenging to outsource a little bit, because you got to think again about your audience and who you're selling to. If they are a very technical audience, and there's a lot of I's that need to be dotted and a lot of T's that need to be crossed, that can be a little bit of a challenge. So, again, like I said, in either case, you really do want to make sure you have somebody on your team there in either scenario. But in the insourcing piece is maybe bringing in somebody like a salesperson or even like a product marketing manager, somebody there who really knows the product inside and out, and has a lot of technical expertise. Like somebody who's maybe tinkering around and likes digital tools, somebody maybe on their sales team who really loves the latest and greatest sales enablement tools. Hey, look at this, I love this, and is really interested about really learning how to try to scale sales, and they just have a natural inclination to it. That is a good opportunity, maybe a good scenario where you might want to try to insource and start, sort of building that out. One of the areas another benefits of being able to insource is that you can, the onboarding time is reduced, because you already have somebody that's coming in that already knows about the business, already knows a lot of information that it would take an outside agency a lot longer, quite honestly, to figure out the nuances of the business. What's your sales process? What are the hang-ups internally? What are some of the political things that go on? What are some of the key relationships they have there? And what things that have been done in the past that have worked really well, and things that haven't, and then maybe they've got some other industry experience inside that specific vertical and that niche. That's where insourcing can really help to make a lot of sense to be able to do that. And in that example is one of those things that one of the big recommendations we'd make is to be able to do kind of a crawl, walk, run approach. It's just with your digital marketing, start off simple. We've gone over this on previous episodes in the past, like, hey, we're new to digital marketing. I think that was like our first or second episode. You can check that out. Listen, new to digital marketing, what do we do? How do we start? Where do we go? Okay, we're not Don't go whole hog into, we're buying all the marketing automation tools, and we're doing all the softwares, and our MarTech stack is this deep. No. Let's just start really simple. Let's start with email. Email's super basic. Let's start that. Let's start sending out emails on a regular basis, or creating a email campaign for a trade show that you're going on, using that as support, and just start kind of like developing that, going that slowly, developing landing pages, content offers, that kind of thing, and testing it, seeing how it works, and then making it evolve. So that's insourcing. Outsourcing, when you might want to consider that is when bandwidth is really low, or there's not somebody on your team who really understands the digital world or isn't as passionate about it, or a big thing is when you're looking at your competitors and you're realizing they're doing all of this and you're late to the game. You for sure need to outsource that, because you don't want to waste any time catching up to speed and moving forward. And there's several different ways on what that outsourcing might look like. There's a couple scenarios where you might have a totally outsourced CMO, somebody that sits on, outside person that sits, on your team as the outsourced CMO that kind of runs all that from maybe not necessarily the day-to-day, but just from a marketing high level to a firm that comes in and they're that third party, and they're going to come in and help to manage the strategy. So get a sense of who you are, what's going on, your products, your challenges, your services, getting an understanding of your products, getting obviously an understanding of your target market, your personas, and then developing a whole plan and a whole campaign. And that could be anywhere from 12 months to 5 years on what this needs to look like. And then once they have that strategy, execute on it. So creating the content, bringing in the marketing automation platforms, building out landing pages, making changes to the website, creating ongoing content, blogs, video content, white papers, downloadables, creating campaigns to help with your trade shows and that sort of thing, and all the content that goes around it, and then actually executing it. So setting it, getting the content there, setting it up, executing it, measuring it, reporting it, getting analytics, and growing with it. Outsourcing obviously is going to be a little bit of a higher cost. However, when you look at it, there's an old adage that we use in the video space, and actually, I think they use it all over the place, anyways, outside the video and digital marketing as well. If you think that hiring a professional is expensive, wait till you hire an amateur. There's a lot of wisdom and a lot of value in that, in the sense that the amount of time it's going to take for you to go on board with somebody who doesn't necessarily know all the ropes and how everything's working, we're testing, yes, it can be lower cost initially. However, when you look at the opportunity cost, and maybe it takes somebody 1 or even 2 years or 3 years to really get a deep understanding of what is going on, your competitors could be eating your lunch in that time period. So, the company that outsources, that comes in and says, hey, listen, in 3 months or less, we're up and running, we've got campaigns going, we're generating leads, and we're moving, versus, the other company who's kind of trying to do, going at a bit of a slower pace. Again, I'm not saying that one way is better than the other. It totally depends on your situation and what might make sense for you. But those are some of the key differences and the different areas on, when you might want to do, either or. And to be honest with you, a lot of companies do both, where they'll have an internal team, and then they have who can work on the day-to-day, the things who are, we need sell sheets, we need spec sheets, we need brochures, we need somebody to help manage our social media. And that kind of thing is going to be a little bit more on a ongoing type basis, whereas the outsource group will come in and help to manage the overarching strategy and say, hey, listen, we've got a product launch coming out. What are the different pieces that we're going to help? So let's put together a PR strategy and reach out to different media groups and see if we can get press releases and we can get some coverage and different media outlets on there. We're going to come in and we're going to do a great landing page with a giveaway. We're going to do, these offers or something, digital offers that we're going to send out to people asking for referrals. And depending on how many people they refer, it's like a pyramid scheme. They get like T-shirts and swag and all that stuff. That stuff works incredibly well. I'll have to tell you about a campaign that we're doing right now that blew our socks off, to be honest with you. But just things like that, trade show email follow-ups and campaigns and things of that nature. So they kind of work in tandem there. That, in our experiences, a lot of the clients that we work with on the video and the digital side, 9 times out of 10, that's what it looks like. There is an internal marketing team, and it could be 1 person, it could be 4, it could be 5, could be a lot more than that. But then we'll kind of come in on the 30,000-foot view level, help with a strategy, and then you kind of fill in the gaps and do the holes there. So again, a couple little approaches there. Really, at the end of the day, you're kind of looking at both, but those are the differences, and that's what you're going to be looking at. There's a lot of resources out there if you're going to be insourcing. Obviously, IndustrialSage is one of them. Is something we hope that you leverage all of the great tools and the assets and the content that we have. We're going to be rolling out with more. But there's a lot of other things. We're big fans of HubSpot and part of Marketo, but we are HubSpot partners, so I'm not going to, full transparency there. They've got a lot of awesome resources. Their whole thing is around education. They're essentially eating their own dog food. They're educating. And once you're ready to buy, then you buy, and it totally makes sense because you're like, I get it, and I feel really empowered that I can actually apply this solution and make it happen. So that take that note with your marketing. Make sure it's educate. Gary Vee, great. If you don't listen to him, I listen to him a lot. Great guy, really great stuff. He keeps talking about value, give value, give value, give value, and then you do the right hook, right? So you educate, provide value, and then the big ask comes after that, and that's what this really is all about. That's the new change for marketing. It's not, again, we're the biggest and the greatest thing, and we've been around since 19 whatever. At the end of the day, nobody cares. I mean, to a degree, look, that's a blanket statement. Sure, people do care about that. It does. Sustainability is important. You've got a history, but that should not be your leading marketing tactic. If you're doing that, stop right now. Okay, you need to educate, provide value, solve your customers and your prospects' challenges. That is how you're going to win today. So I'm done with my rant. And we went a little off topic, but again, insourcing, outsourcing your digital marketing, these are some of the key things you might want to be looking at. And if you have any questions or a particular topic or a particular area in this that we didn't cover, you want some more coverage or more detail, please reach out. We'd love to answer your questions or go a little deeper if you need to. www.industrialsage.com/questions. We'd love to answer for you. If you're listening on iTunes, we would love a review. And please share our content on all the social media properties. We're everywhere. I think we're LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere but MySpace for the most part. And we're not on Snapchat. And I think we might get on Instagram one day. Now with this, vertical video thing, I'm not sure. Anyways, end rant. I'm Danny. Thanks for watching, and until next week, we're out. Do you have a solid digital marketing content plan, or do you have questions around that? Well, listen, we've got a really great, free, awesome tool for you. It's our Digital Marketing Content Planner. It's a download that is a very comprehensive plan on how to take all of your digital marketing content, look at your personas, look at your calls to action, look at your strategy, and take everything that you have on your whiteboard or maybe in your head and really crystallize it and put it together in a very actionable format. So if you're interested in this, you can go to industrialsage.com/digital-content-planner, and you get access to this free tool, and we'll even send you a 10-minute free guide on how to walk through and set it up.